So like everybody seems to do, I bought myself one of those Chinese diesel heaters and it works great. You get what you pay for, I suppose. Heat only comes out of one side of it, which can be a bit of a problem when you've got a garage that needs heating all the way around. So I picked up some HVAC duct fittings in 80mm and I installed them to direct the heat around the garage, and it worked really well. So follow along and we'll see how we get on and what I did. I picked up 3 lengths of 80mm spiral wound ducting and some fittings from ductstore.co.uk. In total it was about 100 quid and it all worked really well for what I needed. I got a couple of 90 elbows, a T and a 45 elbow just to direct the heat around the garage. The pipework's 80mm and the fittings just push into the bottom. It was dead simple. The rubber seal on the fittings just turns and fits inside the pipe and it works super easy. You don't need any lubricant or any force at all. So the Chinese heater comes with a flexible discharge pipe and that is about 78mm, and that just tucks inside the 80mm rigid HVAC line that I got. When I got the fittings from ductstore.co.uk, I went for the self-sealing ones to try and avoid duct tape everywhere and also drilling in every fitting. All the fittings go together really easy. They just slide in at an angle and seal up as expected. For the strapping I used to hold things up, you can just bend it with your hands. It bends really easy, cuts dead easy, and just use a couple of screws to hold it to the ceiling. To cut the pipe, I just used a grinder with a slitting disc, 1mm, 1.5mm. Probably made it harder than I needed to using the grinder. I find these Makita grinders with the paddle handle rather than the switch worlds better than the equivalent grinder with an actual switch that you have to flick on and off. After I'd ground all the cuts, I just used a file to take off any burrs. I was worried the burrs were going to damage the seals. I don't really think it would have actually made any difference. I did try using the grinder, but it didn't work that well. Here we've got a bit of pipe just going onto a T. I was worried that once they were over my head it was going to be really hard to get the pipes to go together, but with these seals they fit and they go together great. So to attach all this ductwork to the wall, rather than buy the actual proper fittings that are quite expensive, they're a couple of £3 each, I just got this 12mm continuous wound banding from Screwfix. So on the open ends of the pipework, I didn't use any diffusers. I just left it open from one outlet is a T and one outlet was the end of a 90 at the far end. I was a little bit concerned that it was adding back pressure to the system with all these pipeworks bends, so I figured that not using diffusers would probably aid the little fan in the Chinese heater. It seems to be doing all right so far. It's been about 3 weeks and yeah, it's working great. So this isn't the first iteration of the ducting I've had in the workshop. It is the first steel iteration. I did try plastic. I used some rainwater downpipe, which is what 68mm, and it didn't like it too much. The outlet of the heater obviously is hot, and it was hotter than the plastic was willing to tolerate, so it got a very floppy. It didn't melt or set on fire or anything, but it did get slightly floppy, so I knocked it on the head before it went turbo. So from the discharge of the heater, I've just got the Flexi. It runs vertically up to a 90 at the ceiling level, goes along, got a 45, then we go into a T. That's my first outlet, getting warm air out of there nicely. And then it goes along the ceiling again to a 90, and that just is the final outlet, just to get the heat around the workshop, and it seems to be working all right. So I'm pretty chuffed for that, warm air out of both ends. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you on the next one.